All right, so for today, I'm just going to screen share so I can show you the agenda. All right, so we're kind of at that point of the workshop where we're wrapping things up. So there's a number of things to be working on today. Okay, one of them, I came up with a participation rubric, which I would like to include, in the mark for the course. And I'll take a look at that in a minute. And then all of the self-design courses these days are having something called highlights of learning. And hopefully you're used to doing that with other courses. And essentially what you do is you just select some of the work that you think showed growth and you learned from. So now Liv, do you recall doing this for courses?
You mean creating a rubric or?
No, the highlights of learning,
Yeah, I had to for my last course I was in.
which were like for the co-design?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a requirement. It's not an arduous task.
Yeah. It only
Yeah.
took me like 10 minutes to fill it out and stuff. It
Hmm.
didn't take long at all.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking that today, I know people are at different points. Um, there's still some people working on the Artifact 4, which is fine. And then Artifact 5 is selecting pieces to contribute to an anthology. And I'm hoping that, we'll get a body of work that, can comprise an anthology from the work. Um, so so with the anthology, like there's a lot of stuff that people can be working on somewhat, I guess, independently. Um, and so one of the things I would also like to kind of include in that anthology, and it's something that came up last week, was this idea of a collage. That we talked about trying to identify some kind of experiences as a home learner, as a self-designer, and in drawing from some examples. Like last week, I shared that one collage essay. It was titled English, and it's where the woman was writing about her experiences learning English, and just kind of being like she did it mainly through small little vignettes or stories. A lot of those had lots of dialogue in them. But I remember last week, people shared different pieces of what it's like to be a home learner. And I still recall, like with Olivia, she shared something about just the kind of, I never really thought of this before, but the separation of home life from school life when it's all in the same space. And it's all, so I'd never really, I don't know why I'd never considered that, but like that's an example of a small piece that could contribute to a collage. I'm just thinking it would be really cool to have a collage essay made up from, different learners about their experiences being a home learner. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it will work. I'm not sure, but it'd be fun just to kind of play with that. So with the like the first two items in the agenda, like to work on for today, there's actually three things in there. There's the participation rubric, the highlights of learning, and then contributing to a collage essay. And then with Artifact 5, this is the one where you'll actually select the pieces where you want to be part of an anthology. And the possibility of maybe having some art and photography would be really cool. So this would have to be original art and photography. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'm still screen sharing, but I want to show you, okay, from in the course. Okay, so the viewer asking where to submit the artifact for. So you just click on topic 4, and there should be a space in here. Yeah, it should be right here. So, so that the hand in space is, it's right on the page that sits outside the personal wiki and the group wiki. And so the way I always find it, I just click on pages, and that takes me out of wherever I am. Okay, so with this one, with the workshop wrap up, okay, so the participation rubric and the highlights of learning, those are both sitting on the page called workshop wrap up. And for this one, everything is outside of, there is no group wiki on this one. There's no private wiki, there's just the one. All right, so there's 2 pieces of it. Okay, one of them is just, like I came up with this, I was trying to think of some way to, just to kind of get a sense, like in most courses and workshops, there's always an element of participation. So I've got 4 different criteria: attending the workshops, willingness to share work with other writers, adding to the growing resources section of PowerSchool. And after this course is over, those resources are going to be curated and accessible to other people who choose. I mean, like next year, the grade 11 program will look very different. And I think some of these materials may reappear in it. And then the other criteria would be providing feedback and ideas and support to the other writers. And if you can think of a separate criteria, you're welcome to add it. So with this one, like when I'm thinking of, like just make a copy of the document, add your name to it, and indicate where you feel, like, okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, so this one. Okay, so for this one, what I'd have to do is I'd have to go File, make a copy, and then I'd just add my name to it. All right, so for this one, attending the workshops. Now, I know some of you, like Peyton, I think you attended every single workshop.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so I mean that's exemplary. And there was that one day you were quite sick. I still remember that. So I would definitely say that's exemplary. And most of you have attended every single workshop. So today is actually the 14th workshop. And I mean, so all you'd have to do is just type something into the space. Okay, so then in the section called adding to the growing resources section, like I know most of you have added something. Some of you have added more than others. So this is where you could just, like, it's blank. I didn't put any kind of details. So this is where you can customize this one. Okay, and then and then getting back to, okay, so we're still in the workshop wrap-up section. So the participation's on the top. And then with the highlights of learning, what you do is if you click on this, it'll actually take you to the template. And it says view only. So what you have to do here is you have to go File, make a copy, and then once you make a copy, you can type in it. So I'm just going to. Okay, so the way this thing is set up, it's pretty much, it's an open kind of template, and there's some suggestions for criteria. So it says step 1 is select the criteria for your learning highlights. And then learning highlights, like this one, we've only had 4 artifacts. So, I mean, it'd be nice, at least 2, 3 if you feel you have a third piece that you really want to talk about. And so what the learning highlights is you just put in the title of the piece, and then you can describe what it is you feel you gain from that piece. And it could be like, for example, if you chose to upload something to the growing resources section, like that could be a legitimate one. It doesn't have to be personally, I don't feel it has to be something that you've written. It could be something you've contributed.
Hey, what about for something that hasn't been shared with the group? Like, would I just put like a Google Doc to it, or?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, today, I know lately the classes have been a little bit, I'd say they're a little bit disjointed, because we're not all in the same space at the same time. So for this one, like I know some of you have, you're all caught up, and the only thing you really have to be working on right now is the Artifact 5, which is the pieces you've selected for an anthology, and then in the course wrap up. So, like, I'm not sure if I need to hear back from you as a group, like how you feel about the collage essay idea. I mean, it'll work only if we get enough contributions from the group. So,
sorry, this is still the anthology thing we're talking about,
yeah.
Right? Okay. Like, how many pieces are we talking about?
For the
Per
anthology?
person? Yeah.
Like I would think a couple. I mean, you can contribute more. Like I'm just like, it's interesting because I've done these anthologies with students in previous schools, and it's almost like you don't know what you're going to get until you get it, right? And so when I used to work in a learning center, which was an alternate high school, but we used to bring in writers all the time to work with the students, and what we used to do is basically collect the work from the students before they left the room, and and we would tell them that ahead of time. If you want to contribute to the anthology, we're going to collect the work right after the workshop, and then oftentimes, sometimes they would edit it, sometimes they wouldn't. But the idea is like you have to capture the material, you have to get it, you have to grab it. And so in this case, I mean, sometimes even the act of selecting work for inclusion in an anthology is a task in itself. So, but this is an idea, and it'd be nice if it comes off. I mean, I think there's been some very interesting work produced. I mean, looking back on the course, we started off with a big focus on imagery. And, different people did different things with that assignment. So I guess at this point, I guess the proof, okay, so with this collage piece, it's not a it's not an artifact, it's not being assessed. Like, I just think it'd be interesting to kind of just try to capture what it's like to learn, like in your living room or wherever you are. And there's like like I meet every week with a young man who's from Alberta, um, and he's actually a grade 7 learner, and he and his mom have been traveling and moving, and he's actually connected to a program called Self Design Global. And what's really interesting with him, like he produces this, it's called an observation for learning document, and he just captures these amazing snippets of what he's learning. Like for example, a couple weeks ago, he helped build a deck, like a substantial deck. He's 12 years old, and another place, like he built this really incredible gate to keep dogs out of a certain part of the house. So this kid is really capable with power tools, and um, so what's kind of cool about his learning journal is it has snapshots of his life, um, and so as far as this collage essay, I'm just really curious. I mean, like if you were to try to create a snapshot, and I think that's where that collage essay, the whole format, what it tries to do is capture the telling moments. And I thought that one piece the woman wrote about learning English, just in the fact that her reluctance to make mistakes with the language has led to this very internal life with language. I thought that was quite interesting. So for today, there's okay. So there's the participation to work on. There's the highlights of learning, and if you want to write a collage piece, that'd be good. And then if you I with the artifact number 5, I know that's due a week from today. Okay, but there's no reason you can't kind of get a jump on that one too. So I'm not sure the best way to do that for today. I know last couple of weeks I've set up breakout rooms, and I've just kind of asked, kind of called people into the room and just kind of talked. And then the rest of you can stay in the main room and work, connect with each other. And I'd love something in the end of the agenda for people if they want to share some of the work from artifact number 4. I mean, so there's some very, like Peyton, with your piece, like I think it'd be very nice if you could share just the design of it, because the design is quite something. And
Okay.
yeah, so we can maybe save that for later. But I'm just trying to get a sense, like with Liv, are you clear what you can be working on right now?
Yeah, I just submitted my 4th artifact, so I could probably start 5.
Okay. All right. And then, so Olivia, I just want to just check and make sure you've got a sense of what to work on.
Well, I submitted artifact 4 this morning, but I'm not quite sure what to work on for artifact 5. I guess.
Okay. All right. So artifact 5 would be, if you were to select a piece, let's say a couple pieces from what you've submitted for an anthology.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think. I know you created a poem.
Yeah, I was thinking about submitting that, but then I was thinking about also writing something new this week.
Okay. Yeah, because I know I remember the piece, but I can't remember the title of your poem.
I don't think it had a title.
Okay, but what is it when it's, was it called Gasoline?
Well, it didn't have a title, but I mean, I guess. it was kind of about like gaslighting.
Gaslighting. Okay. Okay. I remember the term had gas in it. Okay. Yeah. That definitely be a piece I'd like to see again.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess with some of it is just to kind of go through like, I'm not sure how you organize your work, whether you have a folder called creative writing, and then you have, like, some of the work I know is in your, well, not just you, but much of the work is in the personal wiki.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got the personal wiki as a source of material.
Okay.
Okay, all right, and then, okay, so Amira,
Yeah.
okay, so do you have a sense of what you can be working on right now?
No, I'm actually kind of lost on what we're supposed to do right now.
Okay, all right, so maybe I'll start with you, like I'll set up the breakout room and kind of guide you through what to do.
Okay.
Okay, and then Peyton, how about yourself?
So, what?
Okay, I just want to make you sure. Okay, so I'm gonna be kind of working one-on-one with learners, but in the meantime, I just need to get a sense that you know what you can be working on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I saw you were already in that participation document. So, okay, so I'll set up a breakout room. I'll pause the recording, and I'll probably be popping back into this room every 10 minutes. Okay, and the other thing you might want to consider doing is just, like, if you're not sure which pieces you want to share with the anthology, just ask the other people which things stand out in your mind. Because, I mean, some pieces, like with Olivia, that one poem she wrote came right to mind. Like, I can't remember the title of it, but I remember the piece, right? So, yeah, so you might want to ask each other what stands out. Because this will be the last artifact, number 5. Okay, so I'm going to set up the breakout room, and I'll start with Amira. Okay, so my sense is people know what they can be working on. All right, okay. Okay, so thanks. Hey, Amira,
Hi.
so how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. So I was pleased to see that you submitted both Artifact 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So you're caught up,
Mhm.
which is really good. All right, so can I get you to screen share?
Yeah.
All right, you got some biology happening, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go into the Power School. Oh, good for you. So you set up a tab there.
Mhm.
So that's your English course. So are you at home today?
Yeah.
Good. Is your mom at home?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at some point, I'd like to say hi to her.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
Yeah, she's in the same room as me right now.
okay. So you can click on Workshop Wrap Up. Okay. So let's go right to that. Okay. So click. Okay, so if you scroll up a bit. No, just keep going up, like the whole page.
Oh, the whole page.
Yeah, the other way. Okay, so click on where it says edit
Mm-hmm.
on the right. It looks like a little pencil. Okay, yours looks different.
Okay.
All right. All right. Isn't that okay? Yours looks different than mine.
Could it be because this is the student one?
No, I don't think so. I gave students full permission. Okay, see if you can just click on the blue participation. Just click on it. Okay, and now what you want to do, go File, under File, on the top left, make a copy. And then you can just put participate, you can get rid of copy of, and just put Amira, participation, Amira, either way. Just, yeah, Amira, participation, perfect. Okay, so in your drive, before you do that, okay, I'm just kind of curious how you organize your stuff.
In my drive?
Yeah, do you have a file called English 11?
Oh, no, I don't have files or like I have like files in my drive, but I don't like, everything's not in like one thing. It's just all
Okay.
there.
Yeah, so at some point you might want to think about organizing your files into folders.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say, all right, so the first criteria, attending the workshops. Okay, so I would put you probably into strong. I think you've missed one or two.
Yeah, I've missed, I think it's 2 altogether.
Yeah, that's not
And
bad.
then, yeah, and then one I was late. I came in late.
Yeah, and then one of them you actually kind of made arrangements and we connected after class. So you just need to put a comment in here like, I missed 2, and one of them was quite excused.
How do you spell excuse?
Yeah, USED. You had it right. Perfect. Okay, so willingness to share work with the other writers. Okay, so with this one, do you recall sharing work?
Yeah, I've shared a couple times with the class.
Okay, so I think like I might put you in proficient.
Okay.
I know you shared your that Pantone
Mm-hmm.
and
How do you spell Pantone?
you're right on the money with a UM. With an M.
M?
It's a funny word, yeah, M. Yeah. Okay, adding to the growing resources section of PowerSchool. Okay, did you add anything to that section of the course?
I actually don't know how to get there. So
Okay.
I'm not sure where that is.
Okay, so once you put developing, not sure how to do this or whatever.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, that providing feedback, ideas, encouragement to other writers.
I don't think I've done that. Actually, wait, no.
Oh, I think
I
yeah.
think I've done that twice.
I think you've listened well.
Yeah.
So I would say proficient. You're always polite.
I think I've done it either 2 times or 3 times. I'm trying to remember. So remember with Liv. Oh, yeah, because I did with Liv, Olivia, and Peyton.
Okay. Okay, so can you think of any other criteria that might be useful? or participation?
Mm, I can't really think of anything. Just
Okay,
that I've
perfect.
shown my work and talk.
Okay. All right. So what you can do now, if you go back into the Power School, just leave this document right where it is.
Mhm.
All right. So if you go into the workshop wrap up, can you just scroll to the bottom of the page?
Yep.
Okay. And then click on the hand in box and attach from Google Drive. And participation should be right there.
Mhm.
And you can just, you just hand it in. Okay, so you're going to end up handing two things into this one space.
Okay.
Okay, so now click on self-assessment learning highlights.
Right here.
Yeah, click on that. And then, yeah, click on that. And you have to do the same thing. You have to go File, make a copy. And just call it Amira Highlights of Learning.
Whoa.
It's okay. Awesome. And so you can just type in your name. That, well,
At
it
the
says
top
course in the
Course
purple
name.
box. Just call it English. Just call it CW11.
full name.
Yeah, why not? You have a nice last name.
Thank you.
And just Dave Ellison if you want full name. ELLISON. And today's date is the 22nd. All right. Okay, so all right, so if you keep scrolling down, okay, there's different steps. So here's some of the criteria. Something I enjoyed, something that challenged me and I overcame, something relevant to what I do in real life, something that I find super engaging, something that made me want to do more research. Now these are generic. Something that connected me to my community, something that opened my mind, something that taught me more about myself. And the last one is specific criteria developed by you. Okay, so if you scroll down, all right, so, okay, this part, okay, we can skip over this.
Step 2.
Yeah, we're going to skip over criteria 1 for now. Because I think it's probably more important you select the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you keep scrolling, all right, so, okay, the first piece, okay, when I think of the stuff you wrote, okay, what was the one that you did about the bus? Like,
That was one of the Pantoons.
was it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you go into your,
Yeah, I'll find it.
I'm not sure where you'd find it. Okay. Okay, now this is a nice piece.
Which one?
Okay, the prompt down below where it says where I'm from.
This one?
Now, okay, I know in order for you to, I don't know if this is a Google Doc or not.
I can copy it.
Okay. Interesting, your screen shows up pink. What color does it show up on your end?
Pink.
Okay. Did you set that up?
Yeah, you can set the color.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Mhm. And then I paste it in here.
Yeah, why not? Perfect. Okay, so highlight to learning. Perfect. All right. Okay, nice work. Okay, so then, so you could say, describe in a minimum of 3 to 4 sentences the process of selecting this learning highlight. Okay, so now that you selected the piece, what is it about this piece that you really kind of, that you're proud of?
That it was my first poem
Perfect.
I was able to write.
You know, I just typed that in. This is the first poem. That's hard to believe, actually.
Mm-hmm. Because like I've done other ones, but it's like I didn't put any care into them, or like I didn't understand it, and so I never did it.
Okay.
And then so this is like my first poem.
Okay, so you got the idea. Okay, so then, learning highlight number 2. Okay, so let's go back into your, okay, let's see what you got in topic 2.
Oh, this is the bus one.
Okay. Okay, now I'm just trying to, okay, there's another one where the woman, the bus driver, was racist and wouldn't let you back on.
Oh, that one. I don't know if that one's safe.
Okay, it might be under 3. All right, I'm kind of curious now.
Yeah, I don't think that one's safe.
Okay, now, okay, so this is what you just submitted.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 things I remember. Okay, that can be another artifact.
Okay.
Um,
Mm.
all right, so coming back to this one. Okay, so now, okay, now what I think was really cool about this, and I put a comment in the feedback for you, is
Yeah.
that these poems all started from using voice typing,
Mm-hmm.
and that to me is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So you could just say, I use voice typing. To start these poems. Now, the other thing I know, okay, um, and I don't know if you've had a chance to read my comments, but I thought you got better. You have a better
Yeah.
sense now of how to group lines into stanzas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we did all of them together except for the last 2.
Yeah, yeah. So 2 we did together, but then the last 2 you did on your own, and they reflect more of your own kind
Yeah.
of decisions.
Right.
Yeah, so you could say something. I learned how to use how to make stanzas.
Is that right, stanza?
Yeah. You put in, I think, just put an S. Yeah. Okay, and okay, so I was suggesting a minimum of 2, but can you go into your drive
Mm.
and
Here or my Google Drive?
your Google Drive
Okay.
somewhere? The shame of that piece got. You see, this is why folders are so important.
Mm-hmm.
And just type in bus. Just type in the word bus, B-U-S. And any document that has the word bus in it, it's going to show up. Okay, there it is, right there. That's the verbal text.
Yeah, this is the one. I wonder if it's there. I just had to scroll down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if it's all there. I don't think it is.
Okay.
Um,
Use this one.
I mean, I like this piece a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because next stop, exchange. I mean, this one here was almost pure dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay, so for this one, what's something you learned that about dialogue?
I learned how to do dialogue because before I didn't know there were certain things you could and couldn't do.
Okay, you could say I learned how to do dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. All right. Okay, so if you look at the rest of the document, okay, so this part here, you can fill that in on your own.
Well, the moment has already opened up. So
Okay, can I just say hi to your mom for a minute?
Yeah, she's just on a call.
Oh no, that's fine. Okay, so just tell her I said hi,
Okay.
and then okay, so we can both leave the breakout room.
Okay.
Okay, so you've got the highlights of learning to finish up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't know if you could start a separate piece about like you've got some really nice notes. Can you screen share with me one more time?
Yeah.
and then just follow all the prompts as we did before previously.
Okay, so if you go back to your, you have to leave this tab open, don't close it.
Okay.
But if you go back in your Power School,
And then we contact you.
and I think it's topic 4.
And then it'll be about
And a self-design collage. Okay, my mom works with self-design. All my siblings self-design. I do my schooling after my chores.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it'd be really, really interesting for you to talk about just the kind of responsibilities that you have,
Okay.
like to your family and to your mom.
Thing, because you're going to be
All
doing
right.
it now.
Because I have a feeling that you're a big help.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can do your chores, look after your brothers, and like your school day starts after so much else has kind of been done.
Right.
But even something really simple, just
Okay.
and use voice typing.
Okay.
So
I will.
you'd have to open up a new document.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we can leave the breakout room now.
Okay.
And so you've got the highlights of learning to finish, and then you can submit that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. See you back in the main room.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hi, Olivia. How are you?
I'm okay. I've got a bit of a cold.
Okay. Well, summer colds are the hardest to shake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just checking in with different learners or everybody. And have you started some of those activities in the workshop wrap up?
Yeah. I was doing the participation one.
Okay. So do you mind screen sharing? Because I definitely have some comments about your participation.
Okay. I wasn't really sure how to grade some of it, but I can.
Yeah.
I think this is it, but I might have the wrong.
Okay. So are you okay?
No, this isn't it. Okay, it's
Okay.
this is
Okay.
it.
Okay. So you made a copy. Good. All right. So attending the workshops. I mean, have you? Yeah. I can't. Yeah. One year was sick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So yeah, your participation's been excellent. Yeah, you're willing to share work with other writers. Okay, I very much. I think I mentioned this to you, and I might have mentioned it to Wendy, just how much I've kind of grown to depend on you, and
Oh.
to be willing to share your work.
Oh. I didn't know.
And part of it is the fact that you're always prepared. Like I can count on you to have at least attempted the work. So yeah, I'm glad you put yourself in that category. Yeah. So okay, growing the resources. Yeah, I think that's probably accurate.
Okay.
But providing feedback and ideas. Okay, I think you're an incredible editor. And I remember that one time you stayed behind to work with Liv,
Mm-hmm.
and I think your feedback actually gave her. It kind of unstuck her.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like she was stuck, and she didn't know how to move ahead with that poem. And I think you gave her the idea of using the same lines.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think you're exemplary in that category too. So you can just copy and paste and move it over.
All right.
Yeah, so what I'll be doing is I'll just give feedback. Yeah, so with this one, I can't think of any. I left a blank for other.
Oh.
Which,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if there's anything else you can think of.
Not really.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything either. All right, so you can actually submit this into that workshop wrap-up space.
Okay. Here.
Yeah. And you're also going to submit the highlight to learning into this space. So just at the bottom, there's the little hand in box. Yeah, because you can hand in more than one thing.
Oh, okay. So if I hand this in, should I save it as a draft until I do the highlights of learning?
You know, you're probably right. I think you can actually, yeah, save it as a draft. That's smart. I didn't think to
Okay.
do that. All right, so with your, okay, now I noticed you also have the highlight to learning open.
I actually didn't. I think it opened just when I clicked on it.
Oh, okay. So did you create a document called highlight to learning?
No, I didn't get there yet.
Okay.
Uh,
So yeah,
Is
just
there-
click, yeah, just click on, no, just click on the pink.
okay.
And then if you just click on that, it'll give you the template, and then you just have to file, make a copy.
Okay.
Now, have you done this already for other courses?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, because I know this has become standard in all self-designed courses now. So which other courses are you taking?
I'm taking biology and journalism.
In
That's all.
journalism. Okay. So are you done with the journalism 12 yet?
Almost.
Almost, yeah. Because now Dan's your mentor for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you'll get this highlight to learning in that as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically it's kind of like a portfolio.
Okay, I did that last year.
Yeah, so, okay, so now these are very generic criteria. You know, like I'm trying to think, it really depends on the piece you select, which criteria would apply. Like for example, one criteria that doesn't even show up here is basically, like, I know with the poem, that's not a form that you consider yourself adept at.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you, it clearly kind of pushed you into an area that you weren't super comfortable. I think that's probably fair to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the criteria is something that challenged me and that I overcame in some way. I mean, I think that criteria would apply to the poem.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so I personally think the poem you wrote is worth considering as one of your artifacts. And I know one of the pieces you worked on, okay, I'm trying to recall if you actually took something you had previously written and tried to kind of inject more imagery into it.
I don't think I did that one. No.
Okay. So what did you submit for the imagery artifact? Artifact number 1?
It was just about what it was like to be at school when I was at school for a while.
Okay, is that the one like with the classroom and all the buzzing lights and?
Where?
Okay, see, this is where I kind of, like one learner kind of blends into the next. Okay, so if you go into your, I'm not sure how you organize your files, but do you have a file named artifact number 1?
I think so, but I'm pretty disorganized with that kind of thing, so I can probably find it easier in the course.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure why.
You might want to try the box below.
No, I think this is, oh, and I can view.
Maybe not.
Oh, I just went, okay. Here. This was it.
Oh, yes. I remember this now.
And then, yeah, that was,
Okay. Okay, this one to me, this whole artifact is quite something because you recognize really powerful imagery in a published work,
mm-hmm.
and then you were able to revise work. Like, did you create the piece about the Princess Leia action figure? Was this an older piece you'd worked on?
No, it was just something I wrote while I was, actually, I think while I was in the class.
Okay. All right. So for me, okay, this is another one of your kind of exemplary pieces. Because kind of what you're doing, like you're taking some concepts that we discussed in class and you recognize them in published work, like the piece by, the Stranger.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're able to kind of apply it. The hardest level is to apply it. Okay, so I would definitely include this.
Okay.
Yeah. So now with the Stranger, how did you happen to read that book?
I was really interested in Albert Camus, so I wanted to read it.
Okay. He's got a really fantastic short story I used to use in the classroom, and it's called "The Guest." Do you know that one?
No.
Oh, it's an incredible story. It's full of classic Camus kind of irony and choice, and you know the term existentialism.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's existential. Well, it's existential angst,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so I think you'll enjoy that story. It's easy to find. It's no longer. I think it's in the public domain.
Okay, I'll definitely look for it because I liked The Stranger a lot.
Yes, so did I. Yeah, he's got this really sparse kind of way of writing.
Yeah.
Like he provides all the imagery you need, but he doesn't overwrite. So I would definitely include this piece here.
Okay. The whole artifact or just this?
I'd include the whole artifact.
Okay. How many do I need?
Well, 2 is good. Like two is adequate. So you've got your poem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got this one.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, everything you've done has been really top notch. And I've really admired the way, like even that one piece, like it was the ghost story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a ghost.
What's that called?
The Ghost.
The Ghost, yes. Yeah, so that's another example of where you try to kind of grasp some concepts that were kind of new to you, and then you apply them. So you've got tons of stuff here, and if you scroll down into this document, you can see where, like, you can just paste in links to the documents. So you can keep going down. So there's room for 3 kind of spaces. You can do 2. 2 is fine.
Okay.
And then at the very bottom, there's just some questions, like some self-reflection questions at the very, very bottom of this doc.
Okay.
And I think there's only 2 or 3 questions. Yeah, this is the self-assessment. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like I say, I really appreciated having you in this course. You know, you've got a very keen mind and you think like a writer. You really do. And I can tell you read extensively, which is probably the best advice anybody can give a writer.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, so, and then as far as the collage piece, the piece I would like you to write is the one about trying to keep your home space and your work and your school space separate.
Okay, I was actually thinking about doing that one, so that's good.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, because I think it's something maybe the people might take for granted, that somehow, you know, home learning is easier. I mean, you don't have to get out of the house. You don't have to kind of rub shoulders with 1,000 other kids, which is a good thing, right? But
Yeah.
then there's certain things and that comes at a certain price.
Yeah. I was thinking about this because it's sort of, I'm not sure if a double-edged sword is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. On one hand, you can kind of just sit on your couch with your laptop all day, but on the other hand, that can lead to being less productive in schoolwork.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, okay, I'm confident that you kind of are really clear kind of what to do here. And then as far as your the pieces for the anthology, I would definitely share your poem.
Okay.
And I would probably share the piece called Ghost.
Okay.
And the Princess Leia piece is good too. I mean, they're all good. All right, so I think we can go back to the main room.
Okay.
All right, so you get in the feel for your Mac?
Yeah. I like it a lot.
Good, good. It's so nice that you don't have to fuss with your computer.
Yeah, it's so intuitive.
Yeah, and the other thing, like I don't know, there's something. I know we kind of stumbled upon the fact that if you hit your mic and you tapped another key, it seemed to work most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I'll let you go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we'll go back to the main room.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 3:00. Do people want to take a break, or do you want to kind of keep going?
A break would be nice.
Okay, so let's take a break. Let's take a 10-minute break. And then I
Okay.
just have Liv and Peyton to check in with. And then we can definitely end it on, you know, sharing some of the work, the Artifact 4. Okay, so let's take a 10-minute break.
Okay.
Okay.
careful. So, yeah. Well, I heard a bottle. When I say on the street talk, you can always say,
All right, so did everyone have a good little break?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm just wondering, this might be a good time to flip the schedule a little bit. I left some space at the end for sharing some of the artifacts from the last one, Artifact 4. And I'm just wondering, like I have 2 more people to check in with, just about working through like the course wrap-up documents. And we talked a little bit also about some pieces to submit for Artifact 5, which is the group anthology. And so I've already asked Peyton if he'd be willing to just kind of share some of the design aspects of the artifact you turned in, like artifact number 4. And like I know there's certain pieces you probably don't want to share within it, but if you could kind of talk, like Peyton, if you could just kind of talk about just kind of the design, like we haven't actually talked about this, but just you're like what it is you're trying to, like this is a character I know you've lived with for a while, and I can't remember his name again.
Robert Young.
Yeah, Robert Young. Yeah. So with so I mean, would you be willing to just kind of share the artifact and just how you envisioned it, because it's written in multiple sections.
Well, I could screen share if you want, or
Yeah, that'd be great. And I mean, I think it'd be interesting. Like I'm curious, like if you have a bigger vision for this piece, which I think you do.
I do have a bigger vision for this piece. It's more a way to explore kind of the world that it's based in. Yeah. The character is somewhat compelling, but it's really more about the surroundings.
Okay. So you've given them all kinds of backstory with employers.
Yeah. Well, this is a file from some people who are trying to track him down. It's he's a person of interest to this particular group. The darker gray I highlighted with, that's kind of to indicate that sort of thing, like a harder file, as opposed to like the lighter, which kind of indicates this has been written down by someone.
Okay, so this limerick kind of popped out of to me. It kind of so who wrote the limerick?
It's him. I think the character. There's a scrap that's been found somewhere.
Okay.
I never really meant for it to be read into too much. It was more like kind of a relaxed way to get some backstory across without, smacking you in the face with the info dump shovel.
Oh, info dump shovel. Okay. Okay, I like that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so part of it to me, like when I read through this, so the limerick, I thought it was just wow. Okay, I imagined the author or the character had written it, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And so once
Well,
again, like it's leaving it ambiguous.
it's a lot of it's fairly ambiguous. I mean, it's a very large time frame that I'm trying to kind of cover here. I don't have
Okay, now do you want
like
to talk about the pieces? Like, there's parts that are redacted. Like, if you go down a few pages.
Well, that's mostly in the, where is it?
'Cause there was a whole section. I thought it just seemed like stuff was kept out. Like,
Well, there's stuff like this. There is where you see seem to have lost it. Yeah, well, this is kind of like a spoof on, you'll see these below some of the file pieces. This is more or less just a spoof on like a citation.
okay,
And this is just because I didn't feel like making up a completely irrelevant character. That's pretty common on the wiki this is based on, to cut out details either for artistic purposes, to allow the reader to come up with something even better than you could possibly imagine, or to cut out something irrelevant like a character name or an exact year.
okay. Like for when I was reading this, I thought it kind of added a level of kind of intrigue and almost conspiracy.
Oh, absolutely. The world it's based in is very heavy in conspiracy and different competing organizations. And my thought with what I'm kind of basing this character around is like how an individual would work in that world.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I think it's the last piece. It's almost like a purely verbal. It's like a manuscript, or not a manuscript. It's like a transcript of of an orientation. And I thought this is so good in terms of you don't need to have a single quotation mark because. Now, have you ever heard of a writer named Gertrude Stein? Has anybody ever heard of her?
It's familiar.
Okay, she was very famous. She was a she actually influenced Hemingway quite significantly. And she used to not use quotation marks. And so her comeback was, if you can't tell it's dialogue, then I haven't done my job, and quotation marks aren't going to help. So to me, like, I really like this piece because it establishes context setting. Even like the part where it says, Cindy, check that for me, will you? I mean, clearly, Cindy is an assistant or somebody he's directing to do work, but you didn't have to use the shovel dump, as you put it. Like all of that's really conveyed quite quickly.
Yeah, exactly. It's he's running an orientation, but
Yeah, and even that last piece, I really like, you with the stupid hat. No, I've never been accused of disloyalty. So, I mean, yeah, it just, I mean, it builds up the character of Robert Young, but also, within a few sentences, he kind of puts this guy in his place.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Characterization.
yeah, no, it's really good, and like when I was reading this, I thought to myself, this is the kind of stuff that screenwriters make scripts out of. Like they take the concepts and screenwriting is a completely different set of skills, right? Like, basically telling the camera what to do, and actually, and the likes of that. So yeah, so I mean, I appreciate you sharing it. And I'm just wondering, like, with the others in the group, if they can see the potential to use that. I mean, I'm just trying to get a sense, like from Liv and Olivia, for example. Can you see yourself using something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I actually wrote a screenplay last year for English, and it was a really neat experience because it was something I hadn't really played a lot with before. So using that kind of dialogue is really interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I wanted to know, has Peyton read, I think it's called Gemini. I think that's what it's called, because it's sort of a book that's told in like in a format kind of like that, of government files and like recordings.
No, but I'll definitely look that up. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I remember reading there was another book. Oh, I'll have to search for it, but basically it was written. The book was written almost entirely in text messages, and I mean there were bits. There was the bulk of it was exchanges, and as the reader pieces together that there's a person who's passing himself off as somebody he's not, and the reader comes upon that in a way that's it's pretty unique the way it comes across, but the format was quite different.
Yeah, I've actually read a couple like that before, and it's a really neat idea to write everything like as if it was like a text message.
Yeah.
I'd totally try that.
All right, and Amira,
Yeah.
can I get you to you just submitted Artifact 4, which is that series of poems.
Right.
Could I get you to share that?
Sure. Just gotta find it. Do you want me to read it, or can I just screen share
You can
it?
screen share it. I might get you to read one piece.
Okay.
Okay, and can you talk a little bit about? Okay, I'm not sure if. Okay, I know somewhere there's the notes that you wrote this from. Is it in your? Is it? Okay, so if you scroll down. Okay, there it is.
Oh, 5 things I remember.
Yes.
My grandma's rainbow birthday cakes. Majibus is a Kenyan dish. I won't graduate on time. What I miss about Toronto. My grandpa's chili.
Okay, and I can't even remember what the prompt was, other than 5 things I remember. And then, so if you can you scroll up again?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so can you talk about how you kind of got your ideas down on paper?
I just thought of like 5 things that I remember and that mean something to me. And then one of them was my grandma's birthday cakes. That came up because yesterday, and the time that I was thinking of this was my brother's birthday. So we usually make like these birthday cakes. My grandma makes them, and they're very like special kind of thing. Like it's like a little tradition that we have. And
Okay.
then
Okay, actually, what I'm trying to get you to do is, okay, share with some of the other people in the group. Remember the voice typing?
oh yeah, then there's like this voice typing. You go into your Google Docs.
Yeah. Okay, can you just do this? Just open up a new document.
Okay. It's at the bottom here.
Yeah, you can just go file new doc. Okay, so I'm not sure if other people know about this. It's a feature of Google Docs, and all you have to do is click on Tools and Voice Typing, and you have, okay, this is called a speech-to-text recognition software. Okay, so, okay, Amira, I'm going to put you on the spot here, but okay,
Okay.
I asked you to think about what it's like to work at home and having chores to do at home,
Right.
and then you do your work after you do your chores.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the voice typing goes, you come up with the idea, and when you're ready to speak, you click to speak, and then you speak, and then you can tell it to stop by using the word period, and you can create a new paragraph by saying new paragraph or new line.
Yeah.
So could you show people how this works?
Okay. Um, so you start talking and then it will write down everything you're saying. You can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want. It will get everything. Period. New paragraph. And that's how it works.
Okay, so thanks, Amira. And so, okay, can you go back to your poems?
Yeah.
Okay, so what Amira did for her writing process, she took the ideas and then she wrote, and it's unfortunate, like, I don't think you kept the writing
I
piece.
think I did, but I think it's somewhere. I'm not sure. I'd have to
Okay.
look.
Okay, but the idea is that, so Amira talked about her grandma's birthday cakes, and then she took the lines that stood out the most, and she highlighted those, and then worked them into stanzas.
I want to see if maybe I can find it.
Okay, now I'm just wondering, did the other people in the group know about this voice typing?
Yeah, I used it a lot for certain projects.
Okay, that's good, because it's a really powerful tool. Because, I think one of the things it's really cool is when a writer becomes aware of their writing process. And I think for Amira, I think I just have the sense that Amira is aware much more of her writing process. And so for the writing process, there's a certain stage of the writing process which is simply getting ideas on paper. And sometimes that can be in the brainstorming or listing. And then the actual drafting seemed to be like this tool really unlocked getting the ideas on paper. So
Yeah, for me, it's hard to write down what I'm thinking. Like I can say it, but I can't write it. And so then when you showed me the voice typing thing, that really helped.
okay, so do you have a favorite poem from these four?
I think it'd be the birthday cake, the cakes.
Okay, can we get you just to read the one?
Yeah, my grandma's birthday cakes are very special. She makes them for all her kids and all her grandkids. You can always pick your own colors. You can pick as many as you want. You get to lick the bowl after. It's so soft inside when you bite in. The cake only lasts that one day.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing, Amira.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to think like, with with the Artifact 4, I what I really liked from what I saw, like Peyton with yours, like I don't know if you were consciously doing this, but that last section where it was purely pure verbal script, whatever you want to call it. Like I know that's something we worked on earlier, like using a verbal text, and I think Amira, from our discussions, you're quite conscious of using imagery
Yeah.
in those 4 poems.
Hmm.
And actually, one of the most effective forms of imagery is like taste. And I don't know about you, but I could really imagine biting into the cake, like more than the flavor, the texture of it is kind of what that's what that imagery did for me. So those are pieces. You know, I really like with now, Peyton. I know with your longer work. I mean, if there's an excerpt from that you'd be willing to share, that might be cool.
Hold on. The anthology is about self-design, though, in our experience, or rather our experiences as home learners.
No, okay, okay. With the anthology will be work from the workshop series, and what I would like to do, if we could do it, is have a section of the anthology simply be a collage, like a self-designed learning collage, and just to capture, just maybe like, I'd like to write something for it as well, and just kind of capture. Okay, like one of the things I've always really enjoyed with classroom teaching is just the physical proximity and being in the same space with learners, with students. Like I've really liked that. And when I used to work in a learning center, the classes are really small, and oftentimes you wouldn't see a student for days or weeks at a time. Because oftentimes their lives were just they weren't stable, is probably the best way to say it. And and so over time, like sometimes some of the students who would come to learning centers, they were quite cynical about school, and they'd had many negative experiences, and they were pretty wary about teachers and schools in general. And so for like I worked in a learning center for 8 years in Surrey, and it was a great experience. But the thing that I really enjoyed was with the actual contact, was being in the same space. And what I'm finding with online learning, it's very different. In a sense, you create connection with learners. And like for me, I'm an LC, and I've been working with this one family for 3 years. And that to me is really special. Like I know the family, I know the kids, I know the mom, I know the dad. And you kind of build up this relationship very slowly over time. And so what I'm curious is whether you as self-designed learners, like what are your experiences that kind of capture the essence of what it's like to work the way you do, doing school the way you do. And so what I'm hoping for is to have a section of the anthology, we can just call it a collage. And if we get as you know, like with a collage, you need to have enough variation in the collage to make it look like a collage. So that's my goal, is to have a piece of the anthology reflect this collage. And like, I can't think of, like, I don't know if I can give you a particular into it. But I know, okay, with Amira, okay, can you screen share one more time?
Okay.
All right, now somewhere, it might be in topic 4. If you click on topic 4, it might be topic 4. Or maybe it's at the bottom here. You made a list. Okay, the self-design collage. All right, so your mom works with self-design. All my siblings self-design. Different ways and times. I do my schooling after my chores. Grade 11 second semester full-time student with self-design. Self-design tutor, Tanvir. Okay, so any one of those would be a piece of a collage. And now, Olivia, do your siblings self-design as well?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Okay, so what is it like having your siblings self-design?
Well, it means that we sort of have to do our work. Well, they do pretty much the same stuff because they're really close in age, and then I do it later in the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, okay, that's interesting because, okay, this has been known for a long time, but teenagers don't like waking up early in the morning.
True.
Okay, and so one of the changes that has been proposed for years and years is instead of sending, grade 11, grade 12 students to school at 8 in the morning, you send them to school at 11 in the morning or whatever. But something that's kind of more in keeping with their natural rhythms of sleep. And so in a regular high school, in a bricks and mortar high school, it's very common to have these zombie students walking around until like 10 o'clock until they finally wake up. But the interesting thing, so Olivia, for you as a learner, do you start later in the day because that's when you're kind of mentally ready to work?
Yeah, and I'm a bit of a night owl too, so.
Okay, so when you say night owl, like how late? Like 2 or 3 in the morning?
No, like 10 or 11.
Okay. All right. So, but most people know when they're most productive. And if you're most mentally alert and productive at 11 in the morning, then, and the fact that you can kind of shape your learning to when you're actually ready and willing to engage in. So ideally, if people could just write maybe just a snippet about, I'll write something about my experiences. This is the first time I've taught a course with self-design. And to me, it's been a challenge. It's been rewarding. I mean, you've been a really great group to work with. And, sometimes, I don't know if there's certain theory about, there's one way to test if spaghetti is cooked. You can throw it on the wall. You know that trick? Okay, you don't know that. Okay, so when you cook spaghetti, if you cook it, and as it's cooking, if you take a piece of it out and just toss it against the wall, against the tile, whatever you want, put against the backsplash of your stove or whatever, if it drops, it's not ready. Okay, so once the spaghetti sticks to the wall, it's ready because it's cooked enough where it'll actually stick. okay, so sometimes with this course, I have felt like I'm basically throwing spaghetti against the wall. I'm just putting out, I'm putting all kinds of material out there. I think I've probably thrown, I don't know how many writing prompts are in that folder. There might be a dozen by now. But just the idea is like, okay, here's an idea. Is it ready? Toss it against the wall. And for some of it, it's stuck. I think the imagery stuck. And I think some of the different text formats, I think that's stuck. Just to kind of get you to think about different formats. So, okay, so with the rest of the class today, I've just got 2 more learners to check in with. But if you can, you've got the participation rubric to fill in. You've got the highlight to learning. If you can think, if you've got your idea for the writing collage or for the self-designed learning collage, I think it'd be really cool if you try to get something on paper. All right, so, okay, so I'm going to set up the breakout room. I'm just going to quickly check in with a couple people. Okay. And I'll check back in quite quickly. All right, so I'm just going to. Hi, Peyton.
Hi there.
Hey, with the participation, have you already filled those out?
Not quite yet, no.
Okay. Well, I mean, I hope you give yourself very high marks. I mean, I've asked you to share multiple times. You've always been willing. I think you're selective, which is really good. And you're protective of your work, and you should be. And yeah, so as far as I can't think of a single category. Like I think you have shared some resources in the growing the resources. So I think for a lot of learners that has not. Well, it's either been misunderstood or I haven't drawn enough attention to it. But initially, I was putting a focus on trying to get more material in there. And as far as the highlights of learning, I'm pretty sure for you, this will be the first time you've done one.
If I'm not mistaken, yes.
Yeah. And so with the highlights of learning, any of your pieces, I'd like to share at least 2, and just show some insight into what it is. Like for you, okay, because I know you. Okay, there was one thing. Okay, I think Liv shared this with you. Okay, Liv shared it with the whole group. Do you remember that website she shared with us about the profile of the character?
Oh, hold on. Right. Hold
like
on.
I didn't save it, so.
No, I can pull that up right now, actually. Hold on. Let's go.
Because I might have included, or I think she might have included it in the wiki.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I think that's. I'm pretty sure that's where she put it. I'm not sure which topic, but that's the one where it asks you a lot of questions about the character.
Right, hold on. It was like this whole thing.
That's right.
Yeah, like about the different physical and then psychological.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I like I'm trying to think of somebody like you who, I mean, the nuts and bolts of writing are not your problem. I don't know when you learned that stuff, but you learned it and you haven't forgotten it. Like the mechanics of writing, like do you even consciously know how you learned it?
I'm very young, that's for sure. I think I was quite young when I first learned how commas work, like all that kind of thing. So
yeah, you think you could have been like 6 or 7, like that young?
Maybe even a little bit younger, but
okay. Yeah, that to me is like amazing. I mean, there's everything I've ever read says that it's reading that'll do that. It's reading in a very deliberate way, like starting to pay attention to things. And once you're attuned to these things, then it's pretty hard to shut that off.
Absolutely, and that was it for me.
Yeah. So and so for you, like with a class like this, like I think the benefit of this is basically having a forum for your work. Like and I think you've been pretty conscious of, it's all women in the group. All the learners are female. And I think you've been very conscious of maybe like some of your subject material maybe being potentially not, I won't call it not acceptable, but it's kind of pushing the limits.
Well, some of it a little bit, I felt. It wasn't so much that they're female. It was more like I'm cognizant of the fact that this is a school environment. So, I'm trying to be careful about stuff like violence and language.
Exactly.
Despite the fact that that would be realistic in my character's circumstances.
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, I think for you, like, part of the benefit is, like I said, like a class like this gives you kind of community of writers, and hopefully, it's like with your longer pieces of work, just to have, like, I always used to tell my students, I said, you need to find your editor, and who's your editor, and so and good editing is not proofreading, because a proofreader just is looking for mistakes, right? Whereas an editor sees the bigger picture. And so like for you, I don't know where you're going to find your editor. If you have somebody outside of this class that you kind of trust their instincts.
To a certain point, yes. I'll put some things by my family members once in a while, but it's not altogether that frequent.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm really confident that, I really appreciate everything you've contributed to this course, and your willingness to share your work. So I've really appreciated that. And all right, so we're gonna go back to the breakout room or to the main room. I just need to check in with one more person.
Okay.
Okay. And so for your piece about the learning collage, like, I'm not sure what you want to pick. I know you've been in the grade 10 program, and I think it's been really healthy for you to take this one course at least outside of that program.
Well, it's been this and psychology, and I've loved both of them, but
okay,
it's I've been a bit disenchanted with grade 10, and that has unfortunately been the majority of it at this point. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you could actually put those ideas in writing and send them to the right people, because you always want critical feedback, and the best feedback is always from the learners, I think. So, yeah. Okay, so we'll head back to the main room.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now the only person I haven't chatted with so far is Liv. And I guess for next week's meeting, I'd like you to have your artifact 5 kind of done, and all artifact 5 is selecting the work that you want to share in the anthology. And the other piece would be the piece of the learning collage. And I think this idea will work. I'm not quite sure what it's going to look like. It'd be fun if it's a combination of poetry and prose.
Okay.
So,
I might have to change my plan then. I was just kind of adding to a story I'd already been writing for a while.
okay, is this for artifact 5?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Okay, is it an excerpt you might be willing to share in an anthology?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how it will fit necessarily, but yeah.
Okay, well, I think that'd be fine. I mean, okay, I'm just thinking out loud here, but we could have a section that's simply called Works in Progress. Because I know, Peyton, you've got your Robert Young character. That's a work in progress.
That it is.
What was that?
I said that it is, yeah.
Yes. And then, so Liv, is this the same novel you're working on?
Well, I have 2 I've been working on, but no, this one is the Charlie Roberts one.
Okay.
Because it's half written now, and I'm really motivated to finish it.
Okay. Have you added to it since the course started?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Liv, that'd be a perfect. Okay, you're more than welcome to share that as artifact 5.
I have at least. Sorry, could you hear me? It
You broke
glitched.
up a little bit. So you could include as your artifact 5 something that's completely new.
Let me go to a different room. My internet is not very good in here.
Okay.
Let me just go into the hallway. We just got a new Wi-Fi box, so it's been a little bit weird getting used to it. I'll just go upstairs.
Okay. So I just want everyone to leave today having a good sense of what they're going to work on between now and next week. So Olivia, are you pretty clear what you're working on?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. And how about you, Amira?
Yeah.
Okay. And Peyton, I'm confident you know what you're working on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So, so if you could have the material you're willing to share in the anthology for next Tuesday, that's perfect.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff I've worked on recently, so I can just I'll just put them all in the same place so that I can find them.
All right. And okay, so now Liv, you're the only one I haven't checked in with, and I just want to kind of just look at that participation doc. Did you fill that in?
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right. So I think it's 4:00. With the exception of Liv, you're the only person I just need to talk to. So if everyone else feels confident that they know what they're working on, we can end the class right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, see you next week.
Bye. See you.
Okay.